Is there a need for specific men's mental health initiatives to address issues like male suicide rates and emotional expression stigma? There should be more initiatives around men's mental health. I think there should be more common practices and publicity around resources for men, because as we've learned with things like the Me Too movement, social media and news outlets, they can promote anything that they would like to. And I think it is something that is underrepresented in our world. Women naturally, I think, are more emotional than men. And speaking firsthand, I know that. But I do, like, for me, I wish that there were more resources and more normalized practices around men's mental health so that there's more freedom to communicate. I think the more communication there is, the better relationships are. And when there's a stereotype that a man has to keep everything in, make sure that everything's okay and that their family's taken care of and that there's not a care in the world, is really just delaying the inevitable, because we're human beings and we all go through hard shit. And the stigma that men shouldn't have to, go to therapy or have more resources around that, I think it's just more comfortability. Do you think men would feel more comfortable if there was more promoted resources for men on mental health?
I think men would feel more comfortable if they stopped being soft as hell and did more uncomfortable things that improve their discipline, and listen to podcasts like Joe Rogan that is very sensitive and soft when he talks about different ideas and his feelings, but does hard stuff and explains the benefits of it. I think Andrew Tate is another one of these that sort of stands up for, he says some wild things about women, but everything he says about men is true. And I think a lot of people are chasing comfortability, and that isn't the carrot that you want to run towards. A lot of people work better off of fear and pain, use that as a fire instead of using it as ammunition to go hurt other people. Men deal with their problems different than women, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I was in this spot where I didn't know what to do. My mental health was in a crappy spot, and it's people like Joe Rogan, it's people like Patrick Bet David, it's people like Nick Bear, that it's not that they justify the feelings, but they felt that too, and this is the hard things that they did to get past it. And I think the solution isn't a blanket that can cover everyone. You just have to try stuff, whether it's mushrooms to hiking to lifting to video games to business. Like it's all individual. The biggest thing is to not stop trying, because in my mind, stop trying is killing yourself. And killing yourself doesn't hurt you, it hurts everyone that loves you. And I heard this quote that suicide is like wearing a vest with a bunch of bombs on it and walking into a room and blowing up with everyone that you love in that room. And I heard that quote when I was in a dark place, and it really made me conceptualize what I care about in life and what I don't. And I think sometimes people are just too stressed out in their heads and they just need to go take a walk. That's all I gotta say about that.
I like that. I know that you pretty much, like, your entire transformation over the last, really since I've known you, everything has skyrocketed in a positive direction once you started listening to those people and feeling a sense of community, because you didn't feel so alone. But so I agree with that. But as far as like specific initiatives for men, like, what do you think would push the majority of men to go do that and start finding those people that they can relate to? And like, it's easy to just say like, we'll go do this, but what type of initiatives do you think would help to reach a larger population of men, to drive them in that direction?
So when I was in a bad place mentally, I didn't know how to fix it but like I said, I was listening to Joe Rogan and some of these other people, and the key theme with all these other people that I listen to is that they all exercise. And I was, an athlete, but it was very sports specific and added a lot of stress. It wasn't just walking or strength training. So my mindset was, if I can't fix myself mentally, there's scientific proven facts that cardiovascular, like walking, zone 2 level cardio, has a impact on your brain. The way you look or the way you feel both intertwine. Just try and turn your mind off and work on your body and move your body physically, and the mind will come. I know that's what happened with me. My mind was in a crap place. I just started moving my body every day, turning my mind off. Even if I didn't want to do it, just still doing hard stuff. Hard stuff is uncomfortable, and uncomfortable that is hard, that is repetitively done consistently, creates strong men. That is how I've changed my life. I think that is a blanket that can be tossed on anyone. Doing hard stuff, and even if you don't achieve it, trying as hard as you can too will get you out of a lot of dark places.
I love that. I think I picked this up a lot from you, but I agree. Doing hard things and actually like making whether a list or just choosing a couple things or one thing that you can do every day that is an attainable hard thing. Because there's a lot of really hard things out there, like starting a company, going off and doing your own thing, but there's so many bite-sized hard things that you can do that will help build your endurance mentally. A minute in a cold shower, and that was something that I knew was really hard to do. Like nobody likes to, well, maybe there are people that like to take a cold shower. I don't. I would prefer my showers warm, but I knew that I could do it if I wanted to. It was something that not a lot of people do, and I found pride in myself when I was able to complete it. There were some mornings where I skipped it because I just thought it was too hard, and then the next day I'd wake up and think it's absolutely ridiculous that I thought I couldn't do that because I absolutely could have. There was nothing that but to gain from that because I would step out and it was almost like my body understood the high level of anxiety, like the similar feeling of anxiety was what the cold shower brought me. And then the rest of the day, like my body would just kind of regulate on its own because if I could overcome a high level of stress that early in the morning before I started my job, which was very stressful, um, on its own, my body started to recognize that and started to kind of neutralize itself. So I like that. Find the bite-sized pieces.